This is the Discover Seward County podcast, where we explore the people and places that make Seward County great.
On the first night of their sheep sale, and when I get sheep herders that come.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
No,
Good.
we should not be.
Well, no, I just mean we'll start.
You act
in a
like it's
second.
live. You act like you know how much of your nonsense I've had to edit out. Sorry, we are beefing because Pat can't text me back apparently.
Nonsense? Excuse me? Nonsense.
Whoa, easy, kids.
Sorry, Mom. Okay, you did mention, you said two letters that you've never said together before. You said you did AI. What do you mean by that? What?
I did, artificial intelligence.
Wow, look at you.
And because I wanted to do something, I wanted to study on how to do a program in the county and in the state of Nebraska, and nobody had a clue how to start it. And so I Googled, and I started Googling and everything, and then Court Krogan came in the story. He says, AI, Pat. I said, excuse me?
You thought it was talking about artificial insemination?
Because, see, I have other folks that come quarterly and work here in Seward County with that. And I go, so then we started. But you know what? You can't trust AI all the way, implicitly.
No. Absolutely.
You cannot. You have to still think. You have to read it and think and everything. But it was helpful.
JJ disagrees.
Just make sure you tell it please and thank you when you have requests. So when it takes over, it'll spare you in Liberty House because you were respectful to it.
Oh, baloney.
See, I pride myself on being a very rational, data first, be informed about things. I 100% say please and thank you whenever I use AI. I've seen Terminator. I know how that story ends. Maybe there's a fraction of a percent that it happens. I want to be on its good side.
Well, I'm like, how's your day going? And it's like, bro, get some friends. What? I'm an AI. I'm not.
See, I don't sit and converse with AI, for pity's sake. It's a tool I will use in math.
You don't get lonely or anything? You don't?
Oh, God. I don't have time.
She just said she's sick of being nice, so I don't think...
What happened? Are you just tired? Is it just...
It's been a busy weekend.
We can kick off the conversation by talking about the storms. That's kind of the big topic in Seward County was the storms of last weekend. How did you guys fare, Pat?
Our corner really got smashed is kind of the word. But the big old house, the big old brick house, Liberty House, it's amazing. It was still standing strong.
Thank God.
The only thing that we truly lost was a gutter on the north side. But what hurts, you can fix a gutter and you can fix a shed. And you can even fix a hole in your roof. But you can't fix those two beautiful 100-year-old trees. And one is just stripped. The other one I'm going to kind of tie myself to and beg and whine and threaten the guys at the city not to saw it down. So I think it's savable. So
Pat,
You're
that's
funny.
Threatening eco-terrorism. I like that.
I'm all for it.
We lost so many trees in Seward County. And so
Exactly.
many seemingly healthy ones. We had one at our place that I thought was great, but it just snapped right off at the main trunk. It was so powerful.
Right. And the neighbors, they lost a beautiful tree. And to lose those 100-year-old trees. And I was still kind of mourning, when you would drive around the spring in the summer.
Yeah.
There was a lot of damage last spring in that snowstorm.
It's true.
So our trees out here on the prairie have really taken a beating this year.
Yeah. How'd you guys fare?
So I went outside. My mom goes, pick up the sticks. Went outside, picked up 4 sticks on the yard. That was it.
What?
We're up north about 15 minutes, Butler County, Seward County line.
Okay.
Nothing.
But you lost power, right? Like everybody
There was
else?
power. But I mean, we only lost power for 3 hours, 2 hours, something like that. But there was nothing. So when I drove into, our coffee maker didn't work. So I drove into town and Getting Split was closed, and Fast Mart was closed. I'm
Right.
like, what happened last night? Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Casey's
Well,
is
for
the only one
heaven's
open.
sakes, I'll be there. Yes, I found my way out to Casey's. Oh my God!
You and everybody else in town.
Yes,
I got to
and
Casey's and I was like, what is
They
going
were the
on?
only ones open.
Yeah.
But I needed a cup of coffee, for crying out loud. And I went out there and I got it, and I got home and I got out of my minivan. And I'm going in the store, and it fell right out of my hands.
Oh, no.
Spilled it all over the driveway. I couldn't bear it.
Well, in our poor bookstore, Chapters, that whole big old building.
I saw Kelly when. So I forgot the SD cards for this filming right here. So I had to run to Dollar General and get the backups. But
Shout out DG.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw Kelly. I'm like, what happened? She goes, don't mention it, JJ. Just
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got you. So, but I really want to go check out the new Chapters. But Kelly did, breaking news, she did tell me that as of this morning, they're moving back in 2 weeks. So
Oh, wow. That's
there is
great
some hope.
news. That's
There is
great
some
news.
hope.
What else is going on? We got back to school. My kids are officially back to school now.
What grade are your kids in?
3rd and kindergarten. So the kindergartner was just buzzing, just vibrating on her way into the building on the first day of school. She's
Where do
thrilled.
they go to school at?
At elementary, the Seward Elementary School.
Okay, public.
We had
Because I know you live out in the country. I didn't know quite
We
for
do.
sure.
Yep. So
We
we're
don't have a little one-room schoolhouse on the corner anymore.
we don't. Nope, we don't. We're closer to Milford, so I'm not sure, but we're just the way county lines are drawn is so
sure.
and the city limits are weird, so we're technically a Seward family. But we love it there. They have great teachers. They've got a great group of kids with them this year, so they're excited.
That's awesome.
It's very cool.
How many kids did you have in your class growing up? You mentioned the one-room schoolhouse. I don't want to make any assumptions.
It was hard on me going
But-
to high school because I graduated. I truly did, guys. From a one-room schoolhouse, I was the only person in my class. And we truly did. We had a cloakroom. We had a crock jar where we all drank out of the same dipper. And we had an outdoor bathroom. I graduated from Pierce County, 8th grade. My grammar is atrocious. I mean, I can
wonder
wreck
why.
the English language just like that. But I was the only kid in the whole county with a perfect score in vocabulary.
Wow.
Pat, this is an insensitive question. How old actually are you? Because you're
so darn
you're
old.
describing like a schoolhouse in the 1800s.
You know, it was left. And just think, when that teacher, I was in 8th grade in 1959,
Okay.
and I can remember when Charles Starkweather was on the tear across Nebraska, and we were all scared because our
does that
teacher.
mean?
Yeah, do you know who that is?
does
Because
that mean?
I will admit to not knowing who that is.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
Teach us.
He was a mass murderer
Oh,
out of Lincoln.
well, this just took a turn.
This was you need to.
Cool.
You both need to read. It was a dreadful story. It was awful, but for crying out loud,
I had no idea.
Wow.
you both need to study up on that.
I
But
will.
anyway, so in 1959, still it was the tail end. It was the remnant of rural schools because already that culture was changing, and our teacher would drive out from town, think in a 1950 car, and she would come and unlock.
hand
She was
crank
the
it.
only one in that building. She would come out and start the stove, which was an oil burner. She would go out at the pump and pump the water and bring it in and fill that water cooler. And there was no telephone. There was no means of communications for her. Isn't that something? Well, anyway, then my family sold their farm in Pierce County. And then we moved to up by Randolph that fall. And I walked into my first big public school building. Didn't know a soul. I'm not over the traumatization of that.
See, we can trauma bond over that. So I went to St. John. We had from I think 4th grade to like 7th grade. We had 2 boys and 10 girls. So our options were very much open. But when I went to the public high school, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get lost here. I'm gonna die here. Like,
I bet you rose to the surface. I rose to
not
the top.
exactly, but kind of. My high school days were interesting, to say the least.
Were you a late bloomer, JJ?
I was 100% a late bloomer. I had this squeaky voice, and I still kind of do, I'll be honest. But I had this squeaky voice until probably my freshman year of high school. So it took a while to get the gears turning, but
Yeah.
I don't think we talk enough about how hard being a kid is sometimes.
Exactly.
sucks.
Exactly.
It really can. And then we need to have
really
a lot more
traumatizing.
grace for our kids and our young people, because man, not only are they trying to figure out the world, they're trying to figure out themselves. And then there's just,
Exactly.
So what do we got for this episode here?
you tell me,
What
man.
we're working with.
You're the
I
director.
don't know. I'm about to edit it after this.
Well, we got a chance to talk with Stacey Piskorski,
Yes.
well-known educator in the area, has her own
Phenomenal
preschool. She taught at the elementary school for a number of years, just talking about back to school. And, that's a big transition too. You go from
Oh, yes.
the whole big summer full of activities or non-activities, depending, and then getting back into that rhythm is hard for kids and families. So Stacey gave us some pretty good, wisdom, and then we chatted about education and anybody who can be an educator for that long. It's a tough gig, and they're certainly not doing it for the money.
That was really brought home to me, too, when I had a young person in my store who is a teacher, an educator. And part of him was really glad to get back, and then part of him was taking a big, deep breath. Can he do it? Can he get everybody through that year? So you never think about that. The teachers, the educators, it's a huge responsibility. And can they do it another year? Can they get everybody through in one piece?
But I think this is kind of our back to school episode. We're all transitioning back into finding a new rhythm. And what else you got, Pat?
I have a question.
Please.
Has anybody heard any cicadas?
Yes.
Have you? Okay.
So nostalgic.
I think it blew them right out of my trees. I don't think I have.
They're all extinct now because
Because I would just urge everybody to kind of take a moment and enjoy this time of year.
And that's one of the interesting things that I think. So I don't think we've talked about this, Pat. JJ and I have been watching. We have a lot of people that are watching these podcasts, which is great. What's really interesting is that they are from all over the place. Not only all over our nation, honestly from all over the world.
shout out New Delhi, India.
Yeah, we have people from all over. And I think the working theory that we have is just that not a lot of people know what life is like in the Midwest. And so we have the entire focus of this program is what's happening here. And so in the interest of that's one of the great things about Seward County and the Midwest, I think mostly in general. I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, but the way people rallied around each other in this storm, we talked about chapters. I know Kelly had a whole bunch of friends helping her move her whole bookstore up a block. And just the way people sort of, without even hesitation, like go grab your chainsaw, grab some work gloves, and go start helping people.
So many people stop and say, "Can we help you? Can we help you?"
Absolutely. Even at the wellness center, first thing they say, "How'd you guys hold up with the storm? You guys doing okay?" Complete
what do you
strangers.
need? Right.
Exactly.
And that is something that is easy to take for granted, but shouldn't. There's something human in that, right? And just supporting the people around you, supporting your community regardless.
This is when the good rose to the top.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Yep. Which is a good counterpoint to the last time we were all together. We had to talk about, when the bad rose to the top, and that's so goes humanity, right? We are good and we are bad, but we got to highlight the good too, and that's a great thing to see. You never want to have a community go through anything kind of destructive. You don't want anybody to lose a home or a business, and thank goodness nobody that I have heard of was injured or anything.
Tree through their roof.
Right. Yeah, that could have been bad, Kennedy. Boo. She gives us a thumbs down. Yes, she's not a fan of trees through roofs. Hot take. But yeah, it was great to see the way the community just supports each other and rallies around each other.
For sure.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Let's get to it.
Okay.
And we're out.
You know how difficult it is going to be to edit that you just said K there?
Hey there.
I just said what? What?
He's just giving you crap.
Are you blathering? You look tired. You would look in worse shape than I am.
Miss Stacey Piskorski.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the invite.
Really appreciate it. So we wanted a chance to chat. Give us the rundown a little bit. You've been a teacher for a very long time. a very
yeah,
skilled
well-
teacher for a long time. What is kind of run us through like your CV?
All right. Well, I started at the elementary school. I actually taught third grade my first year. I did about 6 years of second grade, and then I ended my time at the elementary teaching kindergarten. So I had 25 years there, and then I decided that I was going to try a new venture, and I opened Today Counts Preschool. And so I'm starting year 3 and just finished up my first open house last night, and I have another session tonight. And then my students will come Thursday and Friday for the first day.
Great. And anybody watching, you should know I can vouch personally for how great Stacey is, because my youngest was one of your preschoolers for about 2 years, and she still to this day talks. She'll reference things, songs. She'll just start singing out of nowhere, and she's like, "Oh, it's a Stacey thing."
Oh, perfect.
And so she loves it. She absolutely loved your time there.
Well, you and your family made it easy, and I'm kind of spoiled. I do have some great families and looking forward to getting to know everybody. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming. We wanted the chance to talk about back to school. By the time this will get out there, people will have had about a week under their belt, I think. And you have the unique perspective of educator and parent, and now business owner on top of that.
Yes.
So what was back to school like for you, kind of when you were a parent and when you had kids in the public school system? We'll start there. What was that like?
perfect. Well, I have 2 kids of my own. They're now adults, and my daughter's teaching, and so this is her second year. But I would say one of the biggest things is just getting back into the routine. Summer is fun, and that's what it's meant to be. And I know many families are on the go, but that would be the biggest thing that I would recommend, is just having the patience, and it's time to slow down again and find that routine, whether it's meeting at the supper table and checking in with everybody, making sure to read those books before they go to bed and getting those extra snuggles in. That was probably, for Pat and I, our biggest, is just remembering to slow down and find that time again. And watching social media, that's hard for families because there are a million different activities and things going on. So it's hard to find that balance, but that'd be my biggest recommendation, I guess I could throw out there to families.
Yeah, I mean it is. My kids, they're 8 and 5, and so like our fall now is it's almost as busy as summer was because
Yes.
of the stuff they've signed up for. All good stuff, none of it's
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
But there is just it's hard to slow down when the pace of life is like making you speed up. Mm-hmm. And so like even just as a kid, I remember like the time between huge events, like summer was eternal. And now it's like, oh, I blinked and summer is done and the
Yes.
kids are back to school already.
Yes.
So I'm interested, how has education changed over your experience? Not even just like age ranges, but like you've covered a whole, wide range of ages and
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of cultural change. How has education itself changed? Because both of my parents were educators. So I got to see that firsthand from like watching them growing up.
Yep.
And so I'm just curious what it's like now.
Well, I don't want to date myself, but when I started teaching third grade, we had calculators, and now kids are heading up to the high school to get their Chromebooks. So the technology has definitely been, I would have to say, the biggest. But with that being said, that's probably the one thing that I'm trying to take away a little bit in preschool. We don't have any devices at Today Counts Preschool, and we are just hands-on, and we're playing and getting our fingers to manipulate different than just our little thumbs. But technology would be definitely the biggest change that I've seen over the 28 years in education.
Yeah. So since you're that, and that was something we noticed right away too during Charlotte's time with you. That was obviously like a conscious choice. Can you unpack that a little bit? Like why was that? I love it. I'm curious by like what you saw in the classroom that made you realize like maybe this next thing we should scale back on the devices a little bit.
For me, it actually wasn't in the classroom that I noticed it. It was more when I would go out for supper with my family, and I would notice other families around us just sitting on devices Or when I would drive home from the elementary, I live by a park, and I would notice parents pushing their child while they were on their phone. And so I guess that was kind of the big thing for me, is I wanted the kids to see we can still have fun without the device. But it was really interesting because in my 2 years so far, that's what the little kids, they're so creative, and they're taking Legos, and
Making
that's
phones.
their phone. And I was like, oh, Kenna and Bryce, they were just kind of right at the tail end before everybody had a phone. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then you have schools that have to do like phone lockers, right? Because kids are getting them so young, and everybody has to make their own choice for their own family. But we and like the families kind of that we all orbit each other because our kids are in everything together. We have made like a pact with several of the families that our kids won't get phones until high school.
Yes.
And as much as the kids can complain, at least we can say, hey, they're not getting it either. Your friends aren't getting them either. So we'll see if we can all stay strong and actually not bow to the pressure. But it is important. And, I wonder sometimes if the constant stream of information makes it harder to learn.
I'm anxious to see what the research says on that, because it is all so new. So it'll be interesting to see what comes about. For me, I would say the wait time has definitely changed because students are just so used to having it immediately given to them. There's very little twiddling your thumbs or waiting anymore, because here, have this. And just as quick as the devices are pushing out information, very quick.
It's a great point. And I'm actually curious, based on your experience, how important is it being bored? Because we've seen scientific research on that, right? That being bored is when your brain is making more synaptic connections and you're actually learning, and that's when knowledge kind of becomes synthesized into action. But I'm wondering how important is it from a teacher's perspective?
Yes. Personally, I think it's important, and I also think it's important that the kids learn how to feel all those emotions, whether they're waiting or whether they're sad or happy. I think they just need to be able to feel the whole range without just having the immediate fix. And then that way they learn how to be able to grow and learn from all those experiences.
Yeah, we're all dopamine junkies now, right?
Yes, and I'm just as guilty.
Absolutely.
The first thing this morning, I was checking out all the cute open house Facebook posts. So I too am just as guilty, and I have to make a conscious effort to try to set it aside.
Yeah, absolutely. So as families ramp back up into the school year and there are so many things going on, what can parents, this is something I think about all the time. So as a parent who has kids in a classroom, with somebody else, there's a little bit of guilt that feels like I'm outsourcing certain things, but you guys are professionals. How can parents make the most concerted effort to support the teachers and the kids? What's really helpful?
I would say just keeping those lines of communication open. Parents, you don't have to wait for the teacher to reach out. Go ahead and send them an email. Ask them those questions, like what can we do to be helpful? Make sure you know what the homework policy is. Where can you get the information? Are they doing Seesaw? Did you sign up for the Blue Jay alerts? Different things like that. Just make sure that you as a parent are ready for all of the information that's going to start coming home. But after you get through that first week, the paperwork is less, and then you can kind of get into the routine. But I would just say, even if you think it's little, it could still be a big deal in the lives of your kids in the classroom, whether it be they had a late night, didn't get a good morning, breakfast with mom, or something out of the routine changed. a grandparent dying, a pet dying, all those little things really do impact their day. And if a teacher knows, they're going to be able to just give them a little bit more grace. So lines of communication would be probably the biggest, I think, for me.
Good to know. What about if we have, or if anybody has a kid that struggles in a certain subject area, or they're having a harder time adjusting, whether it's a new school or whether they just had a really fun summer, and some kids, being in the classroom sitting is hard for some kids. So what can we do to kind of help our kids adjust?
Yes. I would say, again, just talk to them about it. Talk to them about the different options that they have, and also tell them to advocate for themselves. And, maybe they just need to go up and talk to the teacher at lunchtime or recess and just say, could you help me out? And so I think having your child be an advocate first would be a great way. And then if that's not working, as a parent, again, step in and kind of offer some help. But the one thing that I learned after 25 years at the elementary, the administration and the teachers really do a wonderful job. So the kindergarten teachers talk to the first grade teachers talk to the second grade teachers, and really key in on the needs of the students, and then share it so that their upcoming teacher kind of already has a little bit of a heads up. So I think that's really important too, to know that it's not just a teacher for 1 year, but you're going to be there for a while, and so they have the best interests of your child at heart.
That's great. And so far, we have had nothing but great experiences.
Yes.
Both, yourself included, and the kid, my oldest daughter, her kindergarten, first grades, she's loved every single year more than the one before it.
Perfect.
And so,
well,
that's you guys, all of you as educators are doing a great job.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yes, of course. Being an educator itself, if we zoom out a little bit, it's not the easiest job in the world. What got you into education? What made you decide that this was kind of where you wanted to direct your energy?
Oh, man, I would have to say the teachers. I mean, I can go back and list some of my favorite. Mrs. Ehlers. I remember we did a fun play, and it was just the things above and beyond the academics. And living here in Seward, I loved being able to run into the teachers. Back in the day, it wasn't necessarily Walmart, it was Pomida, but we would, be in the aisle and get to talk to them. And so they just always were so loving and caring. I guess for me, I just always looked up to them, and I loved that. I also grew up next to two really strong principals. Jan Holtzen and Ron Lamberty were my neighbors, and so I always enjoyed listening to their stories in the neighborhood. Ron Lamberty, when I was getting ready to graduate, I wasn't quite sure education was the way I was going to go, but he just kind of point blank said, Stace, are you planning on having a family someday? And I said, well, yes, that's the goal. And he's like, you can't have a better life than in education, because you get the same breaks as your kids, and you also get to know your kids as friends on a different level. And so that kind of always just struck a chord with me. So I'd say that's part of it.
Absolutely. That's a great point, because that was something that I think we all experience. I guess I'll speak for myself. You experience it growing up, but it didn't really file into a certain way that a school is a community.
Yes.
It's a subset of the larger community that it's found in. And I've really seen that with our kids, is that some of their friends, they have some really cool friends, and their friends' parents are really neat people.
Yes.
And we enjoy being around them. And we probably would not have crossed paths with them if not for the school and the quality of, the programming and the quality of everything that's available. So as much as it can be a lot to try to get the kids to everything, it helps strengthen communities, which I think is such an underrated part of what you do as an educator. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, and I know that's funny you bring that up, because my husband teaches at the high school, and he had open house last night too. And so, when he got home, we were just comparing stories. And I said, well, how'd it go? And he's like, good. And he was talking about all the different clubs that they had set up in the gym so, students could get involved. And we have a friend whose daughter is super nervous about starting high school. And he said, just text her and remind her to find something, just find something. And like you said, then she finds something, the parents find something, and they just connect. And once those connections are made, everybody's just happier.
That's great. And I think it's okay another thing kids need to know, I think, is that it's okay to try on those different things. Like,
Exactly.
If it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick.
Exactly.
Like,
But just try. And that's what's fun about the different elementaries, middle school and high school. There's so many opportunities that you can see and you are able to try. And if it doesn't work out, well, you've got next year to try something different, or even next semester.
Right. And we're kind of the perfect size in Seward where it's big enough that we can offer all those things,
Yes.
but not so big that you don't get a chance to try them if you want to.
Exactly. I'd agree.
You get a chance to sample. And I think that's so good. That's so healthy to try on different things.
Yes.
And see where it goes.
Yes.
What about Today Counts? What do you got on the docket for preschool this year?
Well, I'm offering 4 sessions, and right now we have open house coming up tonight, so I get to meet my other 2 sessions, which I'm excited for. And then we're just going to start off strong and get going on Thursday and Friday. We're going to do a fun little monkey unit and get the kids excited. It's one that most of them come in already knowing, so I just am going to kind of continue on.
That's fun. I've actually wanted to ask you this for a while. This is so interesting to me. You taught for how many years before you started Today Counts, did you say?
I was at the elementary for 25.
So many people after 25 years would say, I need a break. You went even younger to kids that, can potentially be harder to be around sometimes not. It depends.
Yes.
But you obviously have such a love for educating. What was that transition like, moving from being in the public school system, working on a staff, working with administration, to being, a business owner where it's just you, kind of a one-person team? I know you have I'm sure your family is very supportive. I know. Yes. Pat and the kids are as well. But what was that transition like for you?
For me, I think it really gave me a much greater appreciation for how many different roles there actually are in a school.
When you have to do all of them yourself.
When you have to do all of them. For example, the paperwork for the state now. Oh, do I miss the secretary at school? Or when a child gets sick, I definitely miss the janitor. Getting snacks prepared myself, there's the cafeteria staff. And so I just really have a new appreciation for how it takes so many people to run a school. But on the flip side, I obviously like the freedom to be able to put my focus a little bit more on the kids. I don't have the staff meetings or the professional development days that I did before, and so it's a little different, and I have to make a conscious effort to go and make sure that I'm still learning and keeping up to date, because that was just always provided for us.
Yeah. How do you do that on your own now? Are there resources out there for folks who are doing stuff on their own?
The ESU in Milford does a great job pushing out information in classes, and the state of Nebraska also does the same. They have so many hours of continuing ed that we have to keep, and so just have to know the right place to look. So
there you go.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I so kind of last question, I don't want to take up a ton of your time. If I hand you a crystal ball and say, where do you think education is going? Considering, obviously the last 50, 60 years, 100 years have been just so much change culturally, societally, technologically.
Yes.
And all of those trickle down, some fast, some really slow, to education and what that looks like for our kids and our teachers in schools. Where do you think things are going? If I had the
crystal ball,
if you had to make a prediction.
We always actually in education, we don't call it the crystal ball, but we call it the pendulum, and it just swings from one extreme way back to the other. And so honestly, I'm kind of praying that it swings back to slowing down a bit. I think right now we are definitely in the extreme with all of the activities that the kids are involved in, and it's go, go, go. And so I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I'm hoping that swings back to just slowing down and enjoying each other's time, because it really goes quick. It really goes quick.
It does.
Yes.
I've blinked and my kids are 8 and 5 and they're both in school.
I blinked and my daughter's married and my
Yeah.
son's a senior at UNL, so yes.
I've kind of wondered, I don't know if this will actually stay in or not, but we'll see. I don't know where that busyness, because it's not necessarily from the kids. It's, you know, the kids will do what they do, right? Like, so if there's a ton of stuff offered, most kids are gonna be like, yeah, I'll try that, whatever.
Oh,
It sounds
course.
fun. I get to be around my
Of
friends.
course.
But they're not the driving force behind it. I have always wondered where that proliferation of, and then there's this club and this club and this activity and this activity. And like I said, none of them are bad necessarily.
Right.
But where that came from, and it had to have been the parents driving most of that. It's us, right?
Yes.
And I wonder if that's not just we see statistics more and more about how really deeply unsettled and unhappy most people are. And so if we're not just filling the void, and some of it's vicarious living through our kids, and some of it is just, like you said, like if your kids are having, one of my favorite things that you said this whole time was like, if your kids are having a rough time, like, let's just talk about what they're feeling.
Yes.
Like that's such a common sense thing.
Yes.
But like it seems like most of what we do with social media and it generally is we wallpaper over our discomfort. And we just, it's like this wallpaper, sorry, breaking the fourth wall a little bit. This is wallpaper. It's not real brick. It constantly is like peeling away from the wall. And so we're in here constantly with a little scraper thing trying to flatten it out. Instead of, we should probably just deal with it and like put something else up.
It looks great.
It looks good. Yeah, I know.
wouldn't have even noticed.
I could. There's a piece right here. I could rip it off right now, and the whole thing would come crashing down. I wonder if that's not us driving that.
Yes.
Driving we would be okay with fewer and deeper connections, but you're right. It's societally a thing, and it's a tough thing because all of the things our kids involved in are good, and they're learning great stuff from it.
Oh, I completely agree.
It's
And
a
I
real-
think
it's a
right
balance.
now, I mean, no different than what we're doing right here, there's just so much information being pushed out and shared. I was watching your latest podcast, and before I sat down, I was telling JJ, yeah, I did the Folly Bird. Pat and I went and did that. I didn't know anything about it until I heard it here on the podcast. And so I think that's the other good thing, is there's so much information being shared that maybe you didn't know about swim team. Well, now you see it on a Facebook post, or quick information's being out there for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the encouragement, I think. And I think that's what, educators like yourself, be thoughtful about what you're saying yes to. You don't have to say yes to everything. Just like we just said for the kids, right? It's okay to sample. If something doesn't fit, it's okay to try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you commit to something, you should commit to it and follow through. But otherwise, it's okay to try things out and see where they go. So
Yes, I'd agree.
So Stacey, today counts. Tell people what they need to learn, if somebody's interested. You said you have a couple of openings still. Where do people go to find out more about the great stuff you're doing? I can vouch personally at Today Counts.
Oh, well, thanks. You can Google search just Today Counts Preschool, and my website will pop up. Or you are definitely welcome just to give me a call, and I would love to set up a tour or tell you more about Today Counts Preschool. 641-9628. Thanks
go.
for that little bit of advertisement there.
Of course. And if anybody wants to know some of the kinds of things Stacey does, is she brought us Today Counts logo cookies.
I definitely had to share the leftovers. A good friend of mine, Tracy. Oh, you can't go wrong with Tracy's cookies.
They're incredible. So, like I said, I can vouch firsthand. What you do is so thoughtful, and the kids enjoy it so much. And I don't know if I told you, Charlotte's been reading this summer.
I don't doubt it.
My
I
5-year-old has been
don't doubt
reading
it.
like level 0 books and very fluently. And I'm like, I don't know where she picked that up, but I'm probably going to give the credit to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I hope that she just learned it through the fun and engaging activities we do.
I think that's exactly what
definitely
happened.
not where we sit down and paper pencil activities, but man, I'm trying to incorporate it just through play.
That I got to tell you, that was the other thing that it was like, as for a preschool, I don't think Charlotte ever brought home a workbook, like a workbook page or something, right? Like it's hands-on learning, and that clearly works, and the kids are clearly getting really well set up to take that next step. So,
well, thank you.
Personally, from our family to yours, thank you for everything you did for Charlotte, but also thank you for being an educator and for sharing some of your wisdom with us today, and good luck in the year ahead.
Thanks. Tell the girls to have a great school year.
I will. Thanks, Stacey.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Okay, that was weird.
You did great. What?
I'm keeping her end part in. She goes, thanks.
All right, that does it for episode 7 of the Discover Seward County podcast. Thank you again for anybody who's watching. We've had some new viewers show up from all over the place. We want to thank you if you're new and you're enjoying us talking about life here in the Midwest, right here in Seward County. Obviously, share, subscribe, whatever you feel compelled to do. It helps a lot. Helps us tell the story of all the people and the places here in Seward County that make it great. We also want to say thank you so much to Stacey Piskorski from Today Counts for coming in and talking back to school with us. Thanks, Pat, for taking her time away from mending fences, literally, to come in and chat and share her broken drill with us. JJ, right now, behind the ones and twos, as always. Thanks, JJ. Hopefully you can hear that. He just said thank you, or he said you're welcome. Him saying thank you would be kind of weird.
Thank you.
Yeah. But then we also wanted to let everybody know that we're going to start releasing some shorter content, a little more easily digestible. So we'll kind of be breaking things up a little bit, making it. We've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people have said they're enjoying it, but it's just too long. I don't have an hour and a half to sit and just watch an episode all the way through, and we can see the data too that most people don't come back. So we want to make sure that we're respecting everybody's time and producing content that you'll like. So you'll see a little bit of a change on that. Our content will be kind of releasing stuff a little bit differently, but we hope it's all stuff you'll really enjoy. We've got a lot more great stuff coming up. So thank you again for watching. Have a great day. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else too. This episode of the Discover Seward County podcast was brought to you by the Seward County Visitors Bureau, Sweet Tea Marketing, Hughes Brothers, Union Bank and Trust, GBE, and PetSource.
She says, and I love JJ's hair.
So
I have a girlfriend, so please.
So I'm gonna say this will. Well, we will probably edit this out, maybe bleep it if you want to. I don't know. I had a good friend I went and had lunch with in Lincoln last week, and I was telling him about the podcast. And he's like, oh, I'll go check it out. And so he did. Thanks. So shout out to my buddy Jeff. He watched the first couple of episodes, and he texted me one line. He said, Pat runs the f***ing show.
Oh, for God's sake.
And I was like, he's 100% right.
That's
Yesterday, I was so tired, and about the 27th time, I had to go in the house for a different drill bit or something. I wanted to say that word, but I'm too old.